it as easy and effective for them to get the word out, in this case using social media, in other cases through other outreach forms. So here's a little bit of the community platform. Now I probably should have used Sustainable Medfield because you're perhaps more familiar. But Wayland is one of our longest standing communities. So you can just see these are a couple of screenshots. It doesn't give you the full effect of what the website looks and feels like, but it gives you kind of some of the information that we want to offer to residents. So local photos of local people, local places. Down below, you see these various buttons that allow people to take action. Also, we want to make sure that people have easy access to information about rebates, tax credits, signing up and getting a coach, etc. So, and then one of the big features is that we really allow you or the community to really determine what the actions are. We really want this to be action oriented so people can quickly and easily get ideas for what kind of actions they could take. And so we allow you to customize what the actions are that are going to be most relevant for your town and community. But we provide the templates of all of these actions to make it as easy as possible. So no cost energy assessments, whoops, sorry. Well, this is a screenshot, it's a little zoomed in, but there's a whole variety of things that town residents can come on and say, oh yeah, I could do that. How do I do that? Oh yeah, here's more information. And they can quickly filter also by how time intensive it is, how costly it is, etc. So here's here's kind of diving into a no-cost energy assessment. You can see that we put a whole variety of things at people's fingertips, a variety of information at people's fingertips, asking questions, and helping them to understand why this is a good step. We also include testimonials. We know that word of mouth marketing is very important. So hearing testimonials from your neighbors who did these same things is a much more effective way than having some politician tell you that it's a good thing to do. And this is the feature that I think our communities like the most, which is they can quickly put up events about what's going on in town. And you can share events with the click of a button. You can share events with all of the different Mass Energized communities. So you have instant access to our entire network of communities. So here you can see, this is just from you can see anywhere it says shared here, MCAN here, there's a NextAmp community solar presentation. All of these shared events are from other communities. So you in Dover can access other people's events and you can share your events. So people in Medfield can see, people in other towns and communities can see, oh, Dover's doing that. Oh, that's a great idea. Or we'd like to offer that to our residents as well. If Dover's doing it, like we want our people to be able to take part in what's going on. So it instantly connects you to a whole network of communities and other community residents and community leaders. A little bit more, I won't go into the detail here, but we embed tools that give you access to state data on how many EVs are in your town. We also are doing kind of a climate goals tracker that will track how Dover is doing in terms of all these various measurements, number of EVs, all things that are affecting the town's greenhouse gas emissions inventory. So there's more detail here than I have time to go into, but we embed these tools in the sites. And then here are some of the communities that we're working with. And there's more than this, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of them in your area. So pricing, we try to keep our prices as low as possible. This, it really depends on the size of the town, or the size of the community. Now, I'm not sure how many households does Dover have. I'm not sure. I think you're either a small or a medium-sized community.
We only have 6,000 people, so I'm going to go with small.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, 6,000. So that would be roughly, 2,000 to 3,000 households. So you would be a small community. And so for an annual cost of $1,000, you get access to all of our tools, all of our support, the social media kit. I mean, it's quite an amazing thing. And we actually just, for your information, the cost that we charge our communities does not even begin to cover all of our development costs and maintenance costs. What we try to do is we try to price it by what the variable cost is, and then we fundraise for all of the support and development and everything else that goes into this. So really, we find that the communities who have our sites become, not instantly, but over time, become exponentially more effective in doing outreach to their communities. So, okay, well, so I hope I was within time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to also ask you, what kinds of things are you facing that we could help you with or support you with? So these are just a couple of questions that I'm happy to have a discussion with if we have time, and if we don't, that's fine. I'm happy to just take questions. So,
Right. So for me, this is a whole lot of information.
of
Um,
course.
and I think, certainly a very interesting tool, but without a champion in town, I'm not sure, how we make this an effective tool. Because it seems to me, if I understood this correctly, it is, you're creating a grassroots community to answer questions for those residents that are interested in reducing their carbon footprints. And households will learn from other households different things that they've done, and you're providing an easy place to access information. Because, for instance, if you want to put solar panels on your roof, where do you start? And
Right.
this sort of community would 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 provide you with a roadmap to do that. So do you provide links to contractors or just a roadmap on how to do this?
Sure. Yeah. No, we find that towns, what we would do in your case, for example, is we would help you develop a list of contractors, and then those could become available. So we don't know every contractor in the state, of course not. But what we would help you do is identify recommended. So for example, in our existing communities in Wayland, for example, or in Sudbury, Lexington, any of these other Medfield, what we do is we actually spend some time with you saying, okay, who are your recommended vendors? And then we can put that information up on the site so that people do need and want to be able to access that information. So in some cases, towns, if the town at the official town level is offering that, then they can't be in a position of recommending one
Right.
vendor over another. But when it's the grassroots groups or more sustainability groups, they are not bound by those, the town guidelines that prevent the recommendation of vendors. So in those cases, we do put that information up on the site. People also in the testimonials can say, oh, we use so and so, it did a great job on our
Right.
roof, etc. So,
Right. So, this is certainly very interesting, a lot of information. I personally would hit the ball back to the sustainability committee and say, here's a great tool. How do you envision implementing it in Dover? And maybe having some information sessions with residents to see, how much traction we could get. I don't know if I personally am representative of people in Dover, but it certainly, you piqued my interest. So Patricia, you have your hand up, so polite.
Yeah. So again, the whole point of bringing Nathan on to provide a deep dive into how Mass Energize works with communities is really to address a fundamental challenge that the Sustainability Committee has discussed at every monthly meeting since the beginning of the year, which is we're a very small group. We're trying to get the word out. We've talked about putting together handbooks on, energy efficiencies, sustainable landscaping practices, water management. What I really like about the Mass Energize portal is that all of that information is there. And Nathan gave you a bit of a flavor of the sort of double clicks involved. So again, what I like about the Medfield portal is whether it's heat pumps or solar or water management or sustainable landscaping, there's a tile for each one of those topics. You click on it once and you get a sort of general overview of what the issue is, what are some of the options, and then you can do deeper and deeper dives, and there are all sorts of links to, state-based information, other nonprofits who have information about this. So in my view, Robin, this is a tool that would allow the Sustainability Committee, and particularly in partnership with Chris and his amazing, communications campaigns, to very quickly tell the town of Dover, here's a one-stop information portal for all of these areas that, the Sustainability Committee has been pointing to, but just doesn't have the capacity really to, do a sort of handbook on each one of these topics.
So,
Right. So I could see that, but in 15 minutes, and we actually took longer, in 20 minutes, I I'm not this is helpful looking at Medfields now. So Patricia, what I would suggest is and this is my suggestion, I don't know if Cam and Dave agree, but what I would love to see is from the Sustainability Committee, how you would use this tool in Dover.
Mhm.
And so that we can, to me, we only have heat pumps, and it was a lot of research to figure out which ones to buy, how to do it. And I think people could learn from our experiences and maybe some other experiences in town. So I like the idea of setting this up. Um, but I think probably for me, the next steps are, because this was a lot of information, Nathan. Maybe the next step would be to
okay,
have,
not quite so
you
much.
know,
Okay.
another meeting, and maybe the committee could sort of present to us your vision of how you would implement it in Dover.
Is
So
it,
I've talked enough, Dave, Cam.
as someone who the other two selectmen have solar voltaics, solar hot water, heat pumps, high energy efficiency. I can go on and on. With that, as I'm already a convert, but from the town standpoint, if we're going to get into recommending and coaching, what is the legal liability that the town will be taking on, especially. I'm not going to tell you how and why, it's too long a story, but have some firsthand information on people who rent the solar and then the houses literally become unsellable because of the solar contract in 30 and 50-year tie-ups. So we've got to be very careful if we're going to be recommending firms or specific paths that I wouldn't be comfortable until we sat down with Nina, our town council, and,
Yeah.
and got some
So
more
Dave,
info.
just so you're aware, Anna Nagy and I did sit down with her, and I actually showed her the Medfield portal, and I asked that question, do we have to be careful of sort of supporting this as a community, and not being held liable for any of the information that's on the website. To Nathan's point, we control what's on the website. So if we decide as a town resource, we don't want to be in the business of actually recommending specific vendors, that's fine. But I think you'll find if you go, for example, onto the Mass Save website, which is linked to from some of these subject matter areas, Mass Save will have, I mean, they won't recommend contractors, but they'll provide a list of, heat pump installers. Now, Mass Save is a state program, so I don't know that we would have issues there. But in any case, Nina's feeling was that um, she didn't see anything on this portal that gave her pause, and actually said we can add a sort of safe harbor clause in terms of language, making it clear that the town is not, recommending specific vendors or
All right.
specific
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we bring this back to sustainability? Hopefully, the next meeting will not be on the same night as the Board of Selectmen, and we can discuss this further and drill down to see if we can get to another action step,
Right. That makes
and
sense.
go from
That's
there.
it. That makes a lot of sense to me as well. I'm fully supportive of that.
All right.
So, Nathan, I thank you very much. You had a very limited time. For us, it's a little bit like drinking from a fire hose, but for Cam and myself that have done all of this stuff, we're like, yeah, what's the big deal? So we appreciate your time very much, and we will bring it up at sustainability and see what a good next step would be.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for your time and interest. And we're here, and you and Patricia know how to reach me. So happy to come back or to speak at answer any further questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Nathan.
All right.
All right, so moving along to item 1.2 on our agenda, and this is Mike is going to be the presenter, and it's a discussion and vote regarding the townhouse office hours.
Thank you, Robin. So as the board will hopefully recall, I believe it was in May of this year, you, along with, or in conjunction with the support of the Personnel Board, voted to transition to a 4-day workweek schedule on a trial basis. It was a 2-part trial. The first was over the summer, and then the second is through the end of this current calendar year, with the intention, as that comes to a close really quickly, sadly, that you would make a decision to either make that new 4-day workweek schedule permanent or revert back to our 5-day-a-week schedule. And again, that was a half-day Friday was the original schedule. This was done for really 2 main reasons. The first was to address ongoing challenges with recruitment and retention of employees, and also to provide greater flexibility and to provide easier access to the townhouse offices for working residents by staying open late one evening. So under this current trial 4-day work week, we're open Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8:30 to 5, and we're open Tuesday, 8:30 to 7 p.m., and obviously closed on Fridays. Overall, I think it's fair to say it's largely been a great success. We have not heard, this office, I can say for sure, has not received any negative feedback from residents. In fact, the one comment we received was, "Oh, I already thought you were closed on Friday anyway," because the building was, again, I won't rehash, but one of the reasons we thought this was pretty viable is that the building was mostly a ghost town on a Friday, both in terms of residents and employees, because a number of offices, as they're part-time, were already closed on Friday. We have received positive feedback from residents, particularly on both ends. We've actually had residents who appreciate us opening a little earlier instead of 9 a.m. at 8:30 because they're able to swing in, maybe after they drop their kids off to school and conduct their business here, and then also the evening hour. And admittedly, we don't have a swarm of people on Tuesday nights. I don't want to mislead the board. However, we over the summer it was pretty dead, which I mean the townhouse as a whole is anyway because the town's fairly empty. But now that we're school's back in session, we have had people take advantage of it. People are in the building after 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and it's been great to see. We did ask employees to complete a survey, anonymous Survey Monkey survey, just to get feedback. And overall, again, it was very positive. The majority, by far, of employees said they really appreciate the 40 work week personally. They find it a great benefit to their work-life balance. There were some concerns. Some people did report they found that Tuesday to be a very long day. Interestingly, some employees reported that they have not had any resident engagement on a Tuesday, and we had other departments that said it's been great. They've had people coming in the evening, and it's been really helpful. The one suggestion, just to be fully upfront with the board, was we had two employee responses suggest instead of staying open till 7 on Tuesday, play with the hours so that we close at 6, so it's not quite such a long day. I do appreciate that. It's different because this office, we're used to staying late for meetings. So 7 o'clock's a breeze, it's no problem. It's 7:06 now. But for many departments, they're not used to that. So 7 o'clock is a late night for people. The only reason I think at this time I could not recommend that sort of suggestion, even though I appreciate it, is I think the benefit of staying open to 7 is that residents who do work till 5. Most people don't run out the door at 5 o'clock. They finish things up. They might have to catch a train. By the time they get back to Dover at 6 o'clock, and if we're closed at 6, we kind of eliminated that ability for them to come after work. So I think the 7 o'clock really provides that window for them to come here. So while I do appreciate the concern, I just think it's not something that I could bring to the board. So I'm here tonight to recommend to you, if you so are willing to consider, that we make this new schedule permanent. We've heard very positive things, obviously from the selectmen through different conversations. We've heard positive things, obviously, from the personnel board, but also the warrant committee, also from a number of our individual and independent elected boards and committees have found this very positive as well. So that's where I'll leave it, and I'll turn it over to you if you have any questions or for any discussion.
Did I hear you correctly, Mike, in saying there's been 0 complaints?
At least to this office, yes. I have not heard any complaints on our only concern was somebody's going to come on a Friday. And as I said, in fact, we've heard the opposite. Either one, people thought we're already closed, or two, someone also did mention that it helped eliminate some confusion because they might come on a Friday, but they never knew who was open and who was closed. So just having more consistency, was helpful.
And just as a reminder, we were only open till 1 on Friday.
Correct.
Well,
yeah, we closed early on Friday. Yep.
Right. So I have not received any complaints. As a matter of fact, I think it has been well, first of all, many towns do this already. It's been a great tool for recruiting. It's a nice benefit. And also from a resident standpoint, it is nice to have the townhouse open until 7 on Tuesday night, because a lot of times you do get stuck in traffic, and getting to Dover at 6 can be a challenge. So from my perspective, I think it's worked well. And I would move to make this permanent.
I couldn't agree more. You were very nice to do the test run period to see
Right.
if there were any disruptions, if there were any problems. The only person who's ever showed up on a Friday is me, because I didn't know what day it was. So, so I'm very comfortable. And indeed, I know Chris probably wants to go back to Fridays. But I think this is really the right policy for the town, both from the constituency of people being able to get access earlier and later, and then I'm going to say not much more importantly, but equally important is to our most valuable resource, and everyone's getting Fridays off, and they seem to enjoy it. So I'm all for it.
They've
Yeah.
also
And I,
started a walking club on Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
Yeah, to help break up the long day. I ran into
um,
the walking club one day while I was running in to sign something. And I think
well,
that's great. I
I
said,
really
let
have
me know
nothing
what
to
time
add.
you go out. And they said, well, we're figuring that out.
Yeah. Well, I've certainly got nothing to add to the comments that have made already. I've only heard positive feedback from it as well, and I certainly think it's a positive all round. So you got my vote.
All right, so then I'm going to make a motion. I move to make permanent the current townhouse 4-day work week schedule effective January 1st, 2026, contingent on approval by the Personnel Board.
Second,
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
I, Dave Haviland.
I, Cam Hudson.
All right, so the next item of business is a vote on the fiscal year 27 cost of living adjustment for the non-union personnel board. And at our last meeting, the personnel board, Sue Jeremiah, I think it was just Sue, or did Juris attend as well?
Juris was there as well.
Okay, provided us with a presentation. The personnel board had looked at data regarding inflation. They came here with a recommendation for a COLA. Their recommendation was a COLA increase of 3.25%. They, they gave us their rationale for doing so. We also discussed I think it's called the wage study that's going to occur.
In process now.
It's in process now, which is another way that we have made sure that our employees are fairly
Compensated.
I also had a conversation with Sherborne to try and understand their 3.2%. And what I was told from Sherborne was the reason why they went with a number that was higher than the inflation rate is because none of their non-union personnel have steps. And this was a way for them to try and keep current with the market. So, and they said, they stated that this will not be a rate that they're going to also give to their union employees because this is a unique circumstance. So I also attended the Warren Committee meeting where the Warren Committee debated this as well. The consensus for the conversation there was 3.25%, given where inflation is, seems high. And the Warren Committee gave us a range, actually, which I thought was a creative way to look at this. They said they understood the budget pressures, but they would feel comfortable with a range of 2.75% to 3%. And so tonight, we need to decide if we want to go with the personnel board recommendation or the Warren Committee recommendation. And for me, given where inflation is, knowing that we have a wage study, also knowing that to get good people, we have gone to the personnel board because the market has dictated higher salaries and made those adjustments accordingly. And so I am comfortable with truly having the COLA represent a COLA and addressing below market salaries, through market data and looking and working with the personnel board.
I agree. I think the giving a range had a small amount of genius in it because why we very much want to do as much as we can for employees, given the budget pressures and between capital and healthcare and many other pressures coming down, um, it's going to be a tough year. So if we can give it. I would like to, meaning the three. But I think the 2.75 to 3 and give ourselves a little bit of leeway is just smart at this standpoint.
I agree with that, Dave. And I think given the budgetary challenges we're going to have in this fiscal year, I think it behooves us to hold the line until we actually know what the budget is before we set a final number. So I think that that sort of recommendation works for me right now.
All right, so I think we have consensus, so I'm going to move to approve the fiscal year 2027 cost of living adjustment of 2.75 to 3% for the town's non-union staff as recommended by the Personnel Board and the Warrant Committee, and with a final adjustment percentage to be determined upon confirmation of the town's finalized budgetary figures.
Second,
All in favor, I, Robin Hunter.
I, Dave Haviland.
I, Cam Hudson.
And just for information purposes, Chris and I talked, and we're gonna, in the first pass of the budget, use the 3% because what we're trying to do is look at the budget and then have a list of levers of things that we could adjust if we needed to adjust them. And we thought
Great.
it made the most sense to include the increase at 3%.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because I mean, quite frankly, the quarter point is not going to be a huge lever, but
Exactly.
we might be down to scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Right, right, right. It just gives us a little bit of flexibility. Wow, we are really coming to the end of the year. The next item of business 1.4 is to set the opening and closing dates for the Monday, May 4th, 2026 annual town meeting warrant. And so this is an annual event, and to me, it's the start of the end of the year and then the beginning of the budget season. So the proposed opening dates for the 2026 annual town meeting warrant will be Thursday, November 20th. So that would be today.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
And the closing date is Thursday, January 8th. The warrant article guidelines explain the steps involved in placing an article on the annual town meeting warrant, and will be distributed to townhouse staff, boards and committees, chairs, and will also be available on the town meeting website. And that's very important for any citizens who want to do a citizens petition. Please go to the website, make sure you understand the procedures to get a warrant on the to get your warrant on the town warrant. It's not something you can do quickly on January 8th. So I advise you to go to the website now.
Right.
And I think the other part
there's
of
a
it
lot
is
of
to
processes. Oh, sorry, Cam, I didn't see you speaking. Go ahead.
No, I think the other part is to make sure they understand the procedures that they've got to go through to actually get to town meeting.
Right.
I think if we can publish those procedures as well with them, so that any citizens' warrants they know that they've got a commitment to prepare a presentation for open hearing and go through various steps, presenting it to the warrant committee and so on.
Right.
And maybe capital. We were going to say the exact same thing, Cam. So well done. So
I thought I'd better jump in quickly, Dave, before you got there.
Right. And I think the most important thing is, they need to be aware that they will be assigned a warrant committee liaison who will sort of help them through the process. but it's on them to prepare the presentation, to get the right wording for the warrant. You know, we will assist them, but it's quite a bit of work. So don't come into the townhouse at 4:30 on January 8th, because it's just not gonna happen for you.
Right. The other thing, just to put an exclamation point, is Dover historically has offered, when there is a citizen's petition, for town council to review the language before someone gets signatures, just to make sure the language is appropriate and does what they actually hope it's supposed to do. It is important to do that before, because once they get the signatures, we cannot change the article language, even if we know it's a failed article due to some sort of language deficiency. So just a reminder, we'll remind people as they pick up the signature sheets that we encourage them to do that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. All right. So with all those warnings, I feel like we should have red lights flashing. I am going to move to set the 2026 annual town meeting warrant opening and closing dates as Thursday, November 20th, today, and Thursday, January 8th, 2026, respectively. So it opens on November 20th and it closes on Thursday, January 8th.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
I, Dave Haviland.
I, Cam Hudson.
All right. And moving to item 1.5, it is renewal of the particular licenses for the American Legion Post 209 and Dunkin' Donuts. And again, this is an annual event that we do.
Well, they already can serve liquor, so we might as well let them serve food. So
Right, exactly. And we do
Robin,
need food. We do
right.
need food establishments in town.
And just for Kim, I know this is I believe this is your first year doing Common Vic, which is what I call it because it's way easier to say.
Oh, that's so much easier. Right?
Yeah. And a Common Vic is required when you serve food and have seats. So something, for example, Dover Market and the deli do not have a Common Vic because while they serve food, that you don't sit there and eat. So that's just the distinction.
So I didn't know that. Thank you, Mike. I
You're
learned
welcome.
something today. All right. So are there any questions or comments?
It seems like old dogs can learn new tricks.
Right. Yeah. Wow. I learned something new today. I learned 2 new things today, but this was one of them. So I move to approve the issuance of the common particular licenses for the American Legion Post 209 and Dunkin' Donuts effective January 1st, 2026 through December 30th, 2026.
second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
I, Dave Haviland.
I, Cam Hudson.
And all the appropriate paperwork was there, so we're all good. And now item 1.6, which is update of the Board of Selectmen's goals and priorities.
Thanks, Robin. So I just had a few updates on some things that we've worked on since your last meeting. So first, and I dare say most importantly, I'm happy to report that thanks to efforts by Chris and Jason Belmonte, our new permitting software OpenGov went live on Monday morning.
I heard that.
Yep.
I saw that.
Who was the first person to file a permit?
And actually, Chris, you can correct. I think it was actually Jason. I think he filed a fake one to see how make sure it worked.
You are correct. Yep.
So really, appreciate Chris and Jason's effort, all the staff and boards and committees that played a role. Obviously, there will be bumps. We already had some, but they're working through them. We have some really great support from the vendor, kind of an all hands on deck approach. So we'll continue to work through those, but I think so far it's been well received. And as we've talked about, I mean, we've had residents and contractors just begging us to do this. So we finally have done it. So pretty exciting. Chris, anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to comment. It's been really good. We did sort of a soft launch of it this week, and the permits are coming in fast and furious already. So the word is out, but we are planning for a more formal release of information to the greater community. Just wanted to have an opportunity to work through some of the initial kind of grumbles. But all in all, it was a busy week, but it was really good. And we're already seeing how this is going to really just transform what we do between all the departments. So credits to everybody who really honestly worked hard to build out this system at the department level and put us in a position to honestly go live early. So it's been good, and thank you to everybody.
Right. And there are also so many things we can add to it. I mean, Melissa's like ready to add 16 other new permits, but it's unbelievable. I think, once we get the permits up and running, it really opens a lot of doors to add other things to it.
That's right. That's right. We've done a lot, but there's even more we can
Right.
do and grow the product. Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Well, it's neat. We just leapt from the 19th to the 21st century. And yes, it's been a lot of work by a lot of people, but we all very much appreciate it. And we are all going to benefit from it as a town, as well as individual citizens. Are just like, what do I need a permit for? And I have a place to go, find out and get it, pay the fee, and you start your work. So
Right.
It's going to be great.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm impressed by it as well. I've already bookmarked the site. It's great to see the various departments and boards and commissions being represented right up front there. I also took the opportunity to attend the training that was given to staff. I was a fly on the wall for that, and I was quite impressed with just how comprehensive and flexible it seems to be. So yeah, it sounds like a really successul project. Thanks,
I feel like
Chris.
we should do a project so we can file a permit.
Just a couple of updates under engagement with boards and committees. Just before the meeting, or maybe just as it started, I sent out an email that we'll be holding a training for boards and committees with town council via Zoom. We got some feedback during the goal setting process.
So
Particularly
I
the
got
warrant committee.
this huge red notice that said, this message might be dangerous.
Oh my! Well, that's not good. So Nina's going to be doing a training focusing on open meeting law. Talking through the basics of that, public
Well, that's
records,
great.
and
Okay.
everything from what an agenda should look like, how much detail you should have. We get a lot of questions about, hey, what can I talk about with other board members outside of a meeting? So she'll go through a lot of that, and there'll be plenty of time for question and answers as well. So we're happy to kick that off, and it will be recorded. So if someone cannot attend, we'll make that available for board and committee members after the fact.
When is this, Mike? I'm sorry.
It's Tuesday, December 2nd at 6 p.m.
Quite close.
Yeah, that's scary how close that is.
Yeah,
It is.
I'll be in Europe.
Well, we'll send you the link to the recording.
Okay. All right.
So in terms of sustainability, Patricia, who was on the call earlier today, reached out, I think it was late last week or early this week, with some questions about how they might go about obtaining some grant money for a climate action plan. They were hopeful to use what's called the MVP grant, but there's been some change in priorities and direction for that. So I was really happy we were able to connect her with a grant opportunity through our regional planning agency. And as you know, we have a wonderful new town planner. Another benefit is she has experience with MAPC. So we've connected them with Melissa, who's connected them with the person who runs MAPC. So it looks like it could be a really great opportunity to get some funding to get going on a climate action plan, which I know the board had talked about during the goal setting, really is kind of the key document before we start all these other initiatives, because it'll help be kind of a guiding document. So that was exciting.
Yes, and now that you have positive feedback, that was my suggestion to like call Mike because
Yeah,
they
no,
weren't
it was
sure which
great.
grant to apply for, and I go, "Why are we guessing? Ask Mike."
Yeah,
So
no, I appreciate that, and I think we got them. I believe to the exact right spot, and we're hopeful to be successful. So.
excellent. Well, thank you.
No, absolutely. In terms of finance, we hope to have some more specific details soon, but we've had some really successful interviews for a town accountant position, and we'll keep the board updated. It may be something that we ask instead of waiting till your next meeting, if we are ready to move a candidate to you for final approval and a vote, we might do that as a one-off. So appreciate any flexibility you might have if that happens, and obviously we try to work around everybody's schedule, but just to keep you in the loop on that. And then three others, which I'll just mention, but I'll wait. I'm assuming it'll be covered under your different updates. Is we continue our community engagement. Since our last meeting, Cam had his office hours, and I'm sure he'll speak to that. Under quality of life, we had our second sidewalk committee. I'll foreshadow Cam, but the name change coming soon, we believe. But that was a good meeting. And then lastly, Robin may speak about under planning and development, we had our kickoff meeting with our new housing consultant for our housing study. So everyone's pretty excited to get that going. So that's all I had in terms of momentum on our goals and priorities since your last meeting.
Great. Thank you, Mike. All right. And now we have item 1.7. It's to award distillate fuel oil bid to Holliston Oil Service. Guess what? They're of Holliston, Mass. So again, this is one meeting. So this is a contract with Holliston Oil Service for distillate fuel oil or number 2 heating oil. It expired, and an invitation to bid for the contract period November 13th, 2025 through June 30th, 2027 was advertised. Holliston was the only and lowest qualified bidder at a cost of 0.1950. Well, couldn't you round that up to 20 cents of
No, thank
posted
you.
lowest daily tank price for the Boston area market?
Don't they know that we stopped doing pennies, let alone half pence? So
Right, right.
no, but that's a slight decrease from 20 cents last year, right?
Yes, I believe that's true.
That
From
was
the
my
last round, yeah.
recollection. And I was going to ask that question. And we use heating oil. I think the Chickering School uses it, right?
Let me just look. I think I have the list. I believe that's true. Also, the
The
townhouse.
townhouse and the community center, or
Nope, the
no,
community
that's
center
heat
did not.
pumps.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
All
right.
right.
Well, we need oil for those buildings that need it. So
Right.
this is our one
Yeah.
bidder, and they sweetened it by a half pence. So I say we go with it.
Yeah, I do. I think that's a good strategy, Dave.
All right. So I'm going to move to award the distillate fuel oil contract to Holliston Oil at a cost of 0.1950 over the posted lowest daily tank price for the Boston area market for the contract period of November 13th, 2025 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Robin Hunter.
Aye, Dave Howland.
I Cam Hudson.
Excellent. All right. So the next item of business are Board of Selectmen updates. So this is item 1.8. So I got some recent feedback that I couldn't rebut, but it was that a request that we try and make our reports more concise and focused. So I'm just going to say to the audience out there, thank you for your patience as we continue to find the right balance. So this evening, I'm going to give it a shot of being concise, and hopefully we get some positive feedback. So here it goes. The DSCA negotiations are underway and progressing. Again, those are confidential, and the goal remains to have a contract ready for the school committee to vote on in April. The warrant committee and town meeting prep. So the warrant committee, I attended the meeting last night. They are actively preparing for town meeting. The new members are extremely engaged. Many of them have attended the MMMA training. They are also working very closely with Chris and Mike and Suzanne on Blue Book updates. They have some good ideas, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with. With respect to the fiscal year 2026 budget, Chris and I have begun developing a skeleton for the budget presentation. So we're really pleased with the way that that's going. Chris is working on getting an updated financial model. It's a lot of work with everything else he's doing. It's one of those things where you need a full day just to focus. I don't think he's gotten that recently. Our goal again is to have an updated model by early January, which will have a lot of placeholders in it. And we're taking bets of how much over budget we're expecting it to be. But, it's a
It
start.
better be in early January, otherwise we'll have a paternity problem.
Right. So, and I know the communication has gone out to all the departments, and the Warren Committee has contacted their liaisons, have contacted departments. So we're all good. Yeah, it has to be early January, otherwise I'm in charge, and that can be a disaster.
That'll be a disaster.
Dave, right. Carl did not like me messing with his model. So,
Well, it's Chris's model now, so.
and rightly so. You don't want me messing with your model. So community outreach, Senator Roush visited. We gave her a tour of the community center on November 7th. It was a Friday. Mike attended. I want to thank Mark for planning everything. It went really well, and again, really impressed with the community center. There was a COA Thanksgiving luncheon. I volunteered as a server. It was a lot of fun. It was on Tuesday lunchtime. They had a really strong turnout, and a special thanks to the carvers, of which Mike was one, Chief Vinci was one, Chief Smith was one, and there was one more gentleman who I'm not sure who that was, but he brought a knife sharpener, so he's a professional.
I believe he was the pastor at, is it Grace Church?
Okay.
Oh,
Right.
DeSantos?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Reverend
yes.
DeSantos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I can prove you, it went fine. No problem.
And we had an EMT available. There was also a planning board meeting, but there's nothing to report there because they go so smoothly. And as Mike mentioned, the Housing Task Force Phase 2 has officially begun. Judy Barrett, our consultant, attended the meeting. Everybody was really energized. It was a great kickoff session, and we are going to put together an implementation plan, and we look forward to, there's going to be a lot of community engagement, and we look forward to launching this. And that's my update.
Great. Well, I was away for at least one of the weeks, so I don't have that much to report other than what's coming. The police contract is negotiation will be starting soon, Mike. That's coming up. And sustainability we've already heard from. And let's see, the financial review committee or whatever that name is, I'm drawing a blank. We are starting with the library and meeting with them, and Joanne is bringing in Rockland Trust. So that is starting, and it's so long overdue. It's embarrassing, but we're starting and we're getting there. Um, and then the only thing I really have to mention tonight is that yes, we lost another member on the 3 to 5 committee, so we don't have a quorum
Oh no.
anymore.
Oh
You're
no.
kidding.
And no,
You
well, Jim Dolly resigned a long time ago. He was on the list, and so I contacted him, and he goes, "I resigned a long time ago." So he's out.
Okay.
I feel like I'm cursed, but we don't have a quorum. We can't move forward. So if you know of anyone, I will reach out to James again to see. He said he had 3 or 4 people, but they
right.
haven't come forth.
Yeah.
So I'll try my best, but if we don't have a committee to meet, then it's really hard. And unfortunately, I've gotten a lot of feedback like, yeah, that's a waste of time. We don't want to do it. And I don't want to serve on something that's going to be a waste of time. So that's kind of the feedback we're getting. So at least, sorry, I'm getting.
Well, you're trying hard.
Uh, it literally every time we put 2 people on, one drops off. So we'll get there. But if you do know anyone, please let me know. I would love to get this started. I don't envision it taking more than 3 to 6 months. So it's not like a long-term assignment. So if you know of somebody who wants to get their feet wet, this might be a good way to do it.
No, that sounds great.
So, Cam?
Um, yeah, I had my first office hours on November 12th at the Dover Library, where concurrently there was a presentation planned from former Patriots coach Dante Scarnecchia. I drew a really large crowd of over 50 people, and most of them decided to stay to listen to Dante. Jokes aside, I was glad not to be hauled over the coals by anyone, and several people expressed appreciation for reaching out for our outreach to residents, and I think we should continue this process. I even received accolades for the good work of the townhouse, and this was from one resident who said, "I've lived in several towns in the neighborhood and have been here for the last 9 years, and I'm really happy and really appreciate the work that all the townhouse staff
Wow.
put in." So I thought that was well worth repeating
Yeah,
right
here,
now.
here.
Um, uh, and I was really quite surprised just how hopping the library was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was again surprised when a couple of days later at 8:30 in the morning, Mike and I also attended the library trustees meeting to discuss their challenges with getting the HVAC system and roofing finalized. And so again, there was a line of people waiting for the library to open when I came out. So that was pretty impressive. And it also makes me wonder whether it mightn't be a bad idea for us to try and maintain a formal liaison with the library as well, because I think things fall through the cracks fairly easily if we don't have that. So I would be sort of prepared to do something like that if you guys think that's
That's a
appropriate.
good suggestion.
Um,
I don't see how it can hurt. I mean,
Right.
we're all going to be doing a lot of work with them because they have fallen through the cracks. I mean, to use that analogy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's time.
Yep. So if with your blessing, I'll reach out to Rob Andrews
Okay.
and set that up. I also attended the Concom meeting last night, and it was the run-of-the-mill evaluations. But one thing that did come up was that the Old Farm Road Water Trust has decided to transfer their responsibilities to Aquarian. And for Aquarian to connect into, and they're doing that because of contamination issues with their local well. But to do that, Aquarian is proposing running a pipeline down Old Farm Road to the trust area, and that involves going over a couple of culverts, so there's a necessity to have a close coordination between Aquarian and the DPW on this, because we don't want it to damage a culvert and then discover that we've got to change our priorities and quickly get a new culvert in there. So I know that Mike has discussed that with the DPW too. So we're going okay there. The capital budget.
If I may, this is a topic that is a little prickly for me. And so before Aquarian lays 1 foot of new pipe, I think that this board needs to have a discussion with Aquarian.
In fact, Aquarian has promised to have a discussion with us about that. So
Yes.
They did that at the meeting last night as well. And there was some concern at the Concom that the Aquarian just marched into the Ponzi land and put in some test wells without them going through normal procedures. That may or may not be the case, but Aquarian has promised to review that and work out what exactly happened there. So that's another piece of fairly contentious information on Aquarian in the town. What else do we have? The capital budget review process is kicking off before too long, and the capital budget request should be delivered to the capital budget committee shortly, and then we can kick off the new budgeting year on the capital side. Pedestrian. Now, I'm calling this the Pedestrian Safety and Sidewalk Working Group, met for the first time this week, and is considering short-term measures to pacify traffic along the street, along Cross Street. And the committee is also planning to review existing sidewalk construction guidelines to come up with a sort of to be sure that we've got a consistent approach to dealing with requests for sidewalks, and that may result in some recommendations to the planning board for the modification of the existing sidewalk guidelines. So that's about it as far as I'm concerned.
I like the name change because there's some confusion.
Yeah. I think
it seems like it went from safety to sidewalk.
Right.
And actually, it was a very positive discussion, and I think the team is going to work well together.
Yeah, Melissa at the planning board said she gave you some planning tools. She may have gone overboard.
I think Carol was terrified that I was going to take all of Melissa's time. That's all I had.
Well, we still probably went over our time limit there, but we'll keep working on it.
Don't gloat, Dave, because you had the shortest one.
Well, yeah, for 1 week.
I really tried.
I tried too.
Right, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to keep each other informed, so
Right, and that's the trade-off, right?
okay, now Mike gets to go and tell us all the things we forgot about.
Right.
Well, no, you did a great. I will say we were slightly behind Mona's ideal schedule, and now we are slightly ahead. So you guys did a good job. So I just had 4 quick things, just to drill down a little bit on what Robin mentioned about the warrant committee and starting the budget process. Chris and I held a budget meeting for department heads and some board and committee chairs earlier this week. We utilized the new community room at the community center, which was very nice. At the suggestion of the warrant committee, which I thought was great, we provided some lunch, try to make things a little more comfortable as we shared, not necessarily not bad news, but just different news than usual. which is, where the warrant committee is looking for some different information and some different requests this year. It was very well received, and we'll continue to meet regularly and help departments through the process this year because it does look a little differently. Including that, I'm very supportive of this. The warrant committee would like to have each department or board come in and present their budget. And we're going to try to do that in a uniform fashion so that each presentation is fairly consistent. They're giving the similar kinds of informations for the warrant committee. So I think that's a great new initiative, and we'll help departments work through that. Just after your last meeting, and I know you know this, but just want to share for the public, the Drought Management Task Force met and voted to return us, Dover and the entire Southeast region, to a level 0 no drought status. So again, I don't think there's many people watering outside anymore, but as soon as that recommendation was made, we pulled down the signage and things of that nature that were up. So hopefully that'll continue, and if we get enough snowfall impact, hopefully we go into the spring in a better position. And then two things, community things I just want to share. The first is, we've talked before, but just a reminder that the Council on Aging and Park and Rec are continuing to host a community food drive. Specifically, I believe they're branding it as this month as the Community Center Month of Giving food drive. It benefits a place to turn. It's running through November 30th. And I'll just highlight the most needed items include 2 pounds of white rice, 2-pound bags of white rice, box pastas, pasta sauce, ground coffee, cereals, cooking oils, 1-pound bags of dry black beans, and diapers in all sizes. And they're also accepting personal care items like toothpaste and shampoo. And then also the Dover Council on Aging, they're partnering with the men's breakfast group over at the Dover Church to deliver buckets of sand and salt to Dover seniors. So if there are seniors who would like a delivery, comes with a lid, a scoop, and everything, they can sign up online or give a call to the COA. And that's this effort specifically funded by the Friends of the Dover Council on Aging. So just wanted to highlight those things. That's all I had.
All right.
Excellent.
So, Mona, we're 8 minutes ahead. Who wants to do a song?
Well, pick off the consent agenda first.
All right. So the consent agenda is to, let me get to that. Sometimes these bookmarks stop working, so I just am not sure what I do. I know it's me, but all right. So the consent agenda consists of the following: approve acceptance and expenditure of the following gifts and grants: a $5,000 gift to the Dover Fire Department, a $250 gift to the Dover Fire Department, a $30,244 grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to the Police Department for E911 personal cost reimbursement, another $21,909.20 grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to the Police Department for E911 training cost reimbursement, and approval of 2025 one-day liquor licenses for November 22nd, December 6th, December 10th, 14th, and 18th. So I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
I, Dave Haviland.
I, Cam Hudson.
And with that, I can make a motion to adjourn this meeting. But before we vote, I would just like to wish everybody in Dover a very happy Thanksgiving. I know from a good source, Chief Vinci, whose friend is head of the butcher and the meat and seafood department at Roach Brothers, that Roach Brothers got their turkeys in late this year, but they got them in on Monday.
Did you hear
So,
about that fire at the turkey farm?
yes,
Yeah, I thought you might be referring to that. I mean, it may sound crazy, but all of a sudden, a lot of people who ordered turkeys,
right,
they can't process
They're
them.
already roasted.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So actually Chief Vinci was saying his friend was saying that Roach Brothers is going to be working around the clock because they do a lot of catering for turkeys. They just have so much work to do. They are so behind with their turkey delivery. Well, considering I thought I had another week for Thanksgiving, it's worked out fine for me.
Well, do I second all that?
You can second it. Just the motion to adjourn.
No, I will. I'll second the happy Thanksgiving to all.
Okay. And
Me
what about
too.
the motion?
Yeah, okay, I'll second that too.
Okay. All right. So all in favor, I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Hi, Cam Hudson. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Chris, I'm going to send you an
Thank
email about my schedule so we can figure something out.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. All
As soon
right.
as you stop recording, Mona will come online. You watch.
I don't think so.
Hey, Mona, happy
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Thank
And
you.
you too, Suzanne.
Yes.
Yep.
You
All right.
too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Thank you both. Good night.